Rawlicious souls. Welcome back to my channel. We have the gorgeous Jenny back on. Thank you so much, Jenny, for coming on. We've got part two because we have lots more questions and people are still wanting to know more. So it's great. And I love that we have this interaction, and I'm so happy and grateful for you coming back on, Jenny. Really appreciate your time because I know things are crazy right now. Everything's going on. You're in a move. You've just finish your juice cleanse, you've got kids, and it's just, yeah, you're going through some very big transitions right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, but for everyone to know, it just goes to show that, we can do anything, no matter what's going on around us, just one foot in front of the next foot each day, you know what I mean? And we're well on our way. So,
Yeah. Thank you. So in
yeah.
total, you did how many days in the juice cleanse in total? And now you're doing the refeeding stage now,
Mhm.
just to re
266 days on juice only. And on the refeed, I'm a little over a month. So I broke my fast the day after Christmas with some papaya. So it was like the 26th. So it's a month and a few days at this point.
amazing. So the first question we've got is Janice, what's your preparation like? Have you been home or traveling? I believe this was during the juice cleanse. So these are questions because a lot of these are related to that cleanse. So how was your preparation like? And was you more home or was you traveling? What was the sort of situation during that cleanse?
So while I was juicing, I was more home, but I did have to travel for business for work. And when it came to that, when I would travel, I would find juice bars that were nearby. But the main thing, I would find Whole Foods because they have the big jugs of fresh squeezed orange juice. So when I was traveling, if you can get by a Whole Foods or an HEB, if you're in the States, see, it depends where you are. But in the States, the grocery stores, they fresh squeeze orange juice. So there's a lot of stores you can stop in, HEB, Sam's Club, Whole Foods. They do orange juice, grapefruit juice, and depending what's in season, sometimes I even saw at Whole Foods where they would do watermelon juice when watermelon was in season. So when I traveled, I would get juice there and from a local juice bar. At home, my preparation looked like, as you mentioned, I'm a very, very busy mom, two kids. Small, I homeschool. They stay here with me. I don't send them to childcare. I have a full-time job, a part-time job, and I do all this. So in order to do that, I really try to make it easy on myself. I only juice twice a week. A lot of people are really surprised to hear that. But 2 times a week juicing for me, and I would batch juice with my Nama J2, make enough juice for 3 days at a time. And then I would also purchase a little bit like of the fresh orange juice because it's compared to buying the oranges, it's actually affordable. If you can buy a 64-ounce fresh squeezed orange juice from like Sam's Club for like $9, a bag of oranges is $9.
Yeah.
So I would buy the orange juice to help supplement, and then I would batch juice. And then with my batch juicing, I really love to often have a lot of watermelon juice when I could because it yields a lot and it's very quick. So I think really find juice that you love first of all, because that's going to keep you juicing. Make sure you love it, and then find something that's easy for you and you can get down a system. I knew to buy like my 3 or 4 huge watermelons, my 3 or 4 pineapple, or the pre-cut pineapple, because there's nothing wrong with buying pre-cut fruit, especially in the States where like the pineapples are usually green and they never actually ripen. But you can buy the pre-cut and you can see in the container, so you can see that the pieces are golden or if they're not ripe, because I used to buy a lot of pineapple and then throw it away. So I kind of had a system down for like my favorite juices to juice enough for several days at a time. And that's what I would do, 2 times juicing a week, batch juicing, buying some supplementary juice. And additionally, I tell everybody have a backup plan. So at Whole Foods, they carry their own brand of cold pressed juice. And while that is not as good as fresh juice, I always make sure to tell people that it's not as good as fresh squeezed juice. But theirs in particular, I like it's not pasteurized either, even though they do use a pressure method, but it isn't pasteurized. So it's not like the ones on the shelf that last forever. They still only last a few weeks, but even then, not as good. But it's really important, I think, to have a backup plan. So have a couple cold pressed juices in the back of your fridge because if you get hard pressed for time and you don't have time to juice and your kids are cutting up and all the things are going on, grabbing a cold pressed juice is going to keep you on track versus being so hungry that you go ahead and eat like the peanut butter and jelly that you made for your kids and break your juice cleanse. So that's how I prepared. I made sure I had my backup plan, cold pressed juice. If anything were to go wrong in the refrigerator, I had my juice that was pressed from the store, and then I would batch juice twice a week.
Amazing tips. Amazing. Yeah. It's so true having that. You
That's
really
for
have
all
to
you
know it.
mamas.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And when you are like that, for me, having to create for others as well when you're on the juice cleanse, incredible. That is you've had that. I think it's true understanding why you're doing a juice cleanse and really getting it, like it making it work. I love it. Okay, second question. Jane Leslie said, how often do you add leafy greens, I mean lettuce, etc., not kale, to your juices?
Okay, when I was juicing, I would have some green juice, but I went through bouts of like I mentioned before, sometimes I only drank fruit juice for a while. And then sometimes I would have days where I would want nothing but green juice. I really listened to my body, and I truly believe that's why I was able to go as long as I did because I it's really about learning what your body needs because all of our lives where our power is stripped from us immediately, like as children we start to have our power stripped away, and other people telling us what's good to eat and what we should do. And it's a lot about learning to actually listen to your body and what it needs. And I really craved a lot of fruit. And so I had a lot of fruit juice. In the beginning, I tried to have two green juices a day and two fruit juices or more, but I kept it around 4 to 6 because that's just what I needed. And that's how I felt good. Again, listening to yourself. So in the beginning, I would drink usually two 32-ounce green juices a day, and I always added greens in there, spinach or kale or any green juice had leafy greens in it. Um, and then as I went further into my juice cleanse, I think I needed more of the carbs and the fruit, as I went further and further and got smaller and, my body changed. And so it kind of tapered down to where it would be more like 3 fruit juices a day and 1 green juice. And then it sort of got to where it was more like I might go 3 days with just fruit juice, and then all of a sudden I want a whole day of green juice. It just kind of varied. But all of my green juice had leafy greens. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, he was just seeing what how often you add leafy greens. It means like lettuce. So anything green you did add in, not kale. So you did
Yeah, all of
like
my green juices had spinach or kale.
yeah.
That was the main 2 that I like to put in
Okay.
there, is spinach or kale, but I also would do, sometimes I would put, dandelion greens are really good for you. Really, it was just whatever greens I felt like throwing in there, but most of the time, spinach and kale were the
Yeah.
main ones.
Okay, number three, Shell Bell asked, what's the longest it's safe to do a juice cleanse?
That would really come down to what we were talking about before about listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you what you need. You have all the answers inside, you know? So you really have to listen to your body. A lot of people have told me what I did wasn't safe,
Mm,
that I went too long. like everybody has a different opinion of what too long is and what safe is and what healthy is. So you really have to listen to your own body. And I believe that as long as you feel safe and comfortable, you are safe and comfortable. Sarah Erica went a full year on juice and saved her life. I went almost a year and have reversed like the majority of my health issues. And yet, and still, people bully me and tell me that I juice too long and that I'm not healthy and that I shouldn't be sharing my story with people because it's not healthy. Meanwhile, my health is better than it's ever been. And, no one had anything to say about whether or not I was being healthy when I was going through the drive through at McDonald's and ordering a double quarter pounder with cheese and a large fry and a large Coke. Like probably a $2,000 calorie meal with no nutrients, made of all processed gunk and garbage. So that is one of those answers that you're only going to find inside. You know what's safe for you. And so really listen to yourself, but don't worry so much about fruit and vegetable consumption and juicing and what's safe, because it's way safer than what most of us are consuming on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, isn't it? We're more concerned what we're not eating. We want to be encouraging more fruits and vegetables, and it's the safest, totally the safest. Yeah. Number four, Jennifer Rodriguez says, "What would be your turning point to stop the fasting? Like, what was your goal? I know she had a ton of health issues, but is she continuing till all of them are fully resolved?" So I think this isn't just in the juice cleanse, but just in raw foods as well. So in saying how long are you going for with it, what was sort of like the point where you stopped when you decided you did you we talked about this a little bit, but I'm happy to, if you're happy to go over this again, about what was your actual goal of the juice cleanse and what made you stop.
Okay, so my goal was, to really heal a lot of my health issues I had going on. And my original goal, which I don't know if I mentioned this in the last one or not, or if I have, but I had a goal of 10 days because that was the short term goal I felt like, was attainable. So I highly recommend, um, you setting even short-term goals for yourself, because my goal was 10 days and I did 266. I did it in the beginning 10 days at a time, encouraging myself, and just feeling better and better. And next thing you know, I just went until, my body told me it was time. I started to feel like I needed more. I started to feel like I needed the salad, and I needed some more sustenance. And, I started to feel I needed the fiber, and I just knew my body was ready, and that started to happen. And I started to wonder and question, and it took a little while before the day came where I was just like, okay, I'm going to take a bite of this fruit, and I just listened to myself and kind of went until I knew it was time. And I felt like my gut was fully cleaned out, because that was another thing. I really wanted to clear out my gut, because that's the second brain. Um, and, I was working through my babies. I told y'all I'm a mom. You can probably hear
Yeah.
them in the background. Um, yes, so I just went until I felt it was time. Really, it so much of it varies by every individual when you're juicing. So much of it is just learning to listen to yourself. We are programmed throughout life. We're programmed from the time we're children to seek out, I feel like, the answers from others, but we have them inside. So we ask people, what should I be eating? Is this safe? Is this healthy? And it's beautiful to get other people's experiences and their advice and take what resonates and what's good and helpful for us. But ultimately, our path is our own. So as we're going and we're learning more about ourselves and doing that inner shadow work, that's when we really learn to listen to ourselves and our divine guidance, and we're able to really start to answer those questions for ourselves. Um, so I just really listen to my body, and that's what I do now that I'm refeeding as well. I listen to my body. If I'm feeling like I need juice, I have juice. If I'm feeling like I need more, maybe I have a smoothie. I listen, and if my body's saying eat papaya, I eat papaya. And it's so beautiful to have such a strong connection with yourself where you're able to really your body will tell you what you want. Y'all know I'm eating a ton of durian, you know? That's not something I ever ate before, but my body was like, "Mm, that looks good. You want that." And it was right. I don't even like papaya, but I broke my cleanse with papaya because my body told me, "You should eat that." I saw it in the store, the smell attracted me, the look of the fruit attracted me, even though it's not a fruit that I really honestly like. But my body wanted the nourishment from that fruit. That's how in tune raw foods get you with yourself, where you can act, it's like the fruit speaks to you. I don't know if you can relate, Tony. Can you
Yeah,
relate to that?
totally. Yeah. And the juice cleanse really heightens that deeper connection. That changed a lot of shifts happened in my juice cleanse, my two juice cleanses. And I can see why people go back on them and not just for like the physical but it's all connected. Like I said, the emotional to just slow down to listen. And it encourages that these foods are light codes. They really change all these channels in the body. It's incredible.
Yes.
And there's more people speaking about this, the spiritual aspect, the emotional aspect that comes with it. And it's incredible. Yeah, I feel
Yes.
if we can trust and from experience, it's not going to happen, maybe not for some overnight, but through experience and trial and error, feeling okay. I didn't. I ate something that I said I wasn't, and I wanted to do the cleanse, but you did it. But you reinforced, okay, I know what to do. If you learn the preparation side, it was because I didn't, I was stressed. I had kids screaming and I was just like, I need some food right now and I don't have anything in. So these are all lessons and learning from others that you'll take on, but then start to like you said, go within. And this is what you start to open up this natural inner leader authority within. It's a powerful. It's so empowering.
Yes. And to what you said too, I want people to know that it takes continual intention. I do want people to know it's not like I juice cleansed and now I never have moments that, like, everything is still not perfect. For instance, I had a moment where just recently I ate too many nuts, but I was able to listen to myself and recognize that's the difference because you get the clarity to really listen to yourself and your body. We always will take missteps. I just want people to know it's not like you're going to juice and you're never going to have a misstep again. That's not how life works. But what you will be is better prepared. So, like in this instance, like probably 5 days ago or so, I had some nuts and I ate too many. And while I was eating them, I knew that I was a little bit stressed out, and that's probably why I was craving some grounding and a little bit more. But I also recognized, like, oh, this doesn't feel as good on my body as when I just have my fruits, and I just had too much. You know what I mean? I'm not telling anybody nuts are bad, please. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. I just want you all to know that, you know, don't beat yourself up. And there's no miracle that's going to make it where we don't have to be intentional. But the difference is, like, the more we connect with ourselves and the more living foods we eat, the more we're able to really do the internal work and connect with ourselves. So when we do get in these moments, we can recognize where we are, and make the proper steps moving forward. So I was like, okay, I ate too many nuts. I think it's a little bit of stress eating. So, I'm not going to have any more nuts this week. Like, I was able to have that conversation with myself. And that is such a beautiful, powerful thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you stated that because you feel like, oh, I'm doing everything right, and then why am I doing certain things I thought I wouldn't do? But yeah, when you have the intention, it's much more powerful. It's that awareness. I think that is more of the connection where you
Yes.
feel okay, yeah, and sometimes just allow yourself to experience those other foods and let allow that
Yes.
when it's with intention.
Yeah.
It's
Yes. And
more powerful.
yes, and don't guilt yourself because this is what life's about. We are not perfect. And if we try to maintain this image of perfection, that's why a lot of people have trouble eating, like a raw foods or eating a vegan diet or just eating the way that they want to because we have this image of perfection. That's why when you mentioned that, I thought it was important for me to mention that as well because I think a lot of people they might see me and I never ever want to present this picture of perfection around myself or around juicing because none of us are, but like you said, we can have that awareness to know that when we, you know, um, partake in something that doesn't particularly serve our highest self, we do have the ability to pivot, but nothing is ever going to be perfect. None of us are perfect. We all get stressed out. We all have moments where we eat things that, maybe it's not necessarily what we wanted to do, but nobody can maintain perfection. And if you try to, just like with the juicing, same thing. Like I said, I kept the cold pressed juice around. We have to really be willing to be adaptable and flexible and just recognize that we are imperfectly perfect. That's the beauty in it. That's life. Like you said, that's how we grow. So,
Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
absolutely.
I'm glad you've reinforced that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think it's very key, and we can get trapped in that all or nothing thinking. Oh, if it's not going to be done,
Yes.
I should be, and how I've set out to do it, that you give up, or yeah, you beat yourself up. And we're not here to do that. We're here to learn and grow and be loving and nurturing and understanding that this is just a part of the discovery. This incredible experience here on Earth. So thank you.
Yes. That all or nothing mentality that you talk about, that is a blessing blocker for
Oh,
sure.
totally. Yeah, I had that. It was very, yeah, in my life for most, and I see it in others, for many people, and this is where we get this perfectionist. Yeah. If I'm not
That's
gonna
how
do
I
it
know because I
perfect,
had to
what's
work
the
through it.
point? Yeah.
Me too, Tony. That's why I talk about it because I want people to know you can block your own blessings by stopping from doing something because you can't do it perfectly when in reality we can't do anything perfectly. There is no such thing. We are humans. We are imperfect, and in that is our perfection.
Love that.
We are flawed, and that is where our beauty lies.
Yes.
So,
It really is. Thank you. It's so reassuring when you really get it. For me, it took some time. I hear it, and I was like, but I didn't really. And then now I really, but I'm just much more. It's a really nicer, enjoyable journey. And you're like, yeah,
yes.
it is. And others like when they find out I've had some. I think what was it? A few weeks last week on my bare meat salad, there was a few cooked onions on it. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have them. It's I'm not gonna I
Yes.
salad I'm eating out. They put it on. I'm happy with it. Maybe later down the line I'll ask them to not put them on. Make sure they're raw or whatever. So but I was just and then when one of my clients was like, you had food? I was like, I do. Sometimes I do. But
And
yeah,
also, from my understanding, like a raw diet is like, 80 or something percent raw. Like nobody can actually eat all raw. Like even if you go get your raw cashews, they're probably not raw because they have to dip them in that hot water. Like there's so many things, but we get so caught up in this image of perfection, like you were saying, that it's like all or nothing when in reality, what matters is what you do like 90% of the time or 95% of the time. Do you think that that 5% is what throws us off course because you had some crumbled cooked onions on your salad, but
Uh,
you eat like 98% raw?
yeah.
No, that doesn't matter. Like accepting the imperfection is how we are able to stay on, on the right path.
Yeah. It takes that pressure off. And when you give that permission, it was like,
Yes.
oh, so instead of being 50%, they increased the raw because they were like, oh yeah, because I had those days when I was like, they had a cooked lunch, and then it was like, oh well, I'm going to eat cooked the rest of the day, and I'm like, but maybe just have had that cooked lunch because they felt all or nothing. They'll do it for the rest of the weekend or the rest of the day. And I was like, no, just jump back on the raw. It's okay. Have that cooked food for lunch, or even
Yeah,
I find
absolutely.
what helped me in the past, I got that mentality of always eating out of my because I was in the fitness industry, always eat every 3 hours. So I've got into that now. If I were to eat something heavy raw or in the past was the cooked, I would actually just finish on that in a late lunch. I'd be like, I don't need to eat later. Why is I'm not listening to my body. So that yeah, the listening and not like me feeling if I don't eat, I'm like I was always about gains and I don't want to lose muscle. And I'm like more lean than I was when I'm fasting and eating raw food. So we're even I'm showing people the myths alongside that because I do have some clients that are in the personal training industry and they're like, but Tony, you can't. I say to them, I'm fasting 16 hours. They're like, you're gonna lose your muscle. I'm like, it's not true, and I'm gonna be speaking up more about this process and those myths behind that. And I'm like, but if
Yeah.
I don't want to eat, I don't want to eat. I'm not even if it means I lose
Same.
my health, I don't care.
Yeah, same thing, like, I fast too, and it happens naturally because I listen to my body. So, if I wake up like, I don't force myself to eat breakfast because it's breakfast time. We're back to the programming now and this power being stripped from us. We don't even realize the ways in which our power has been stripped from us to the point that people think that they must eat breakfast because that's what we've been taught. That's when we've been told to eat. We don't need anybody to tell us when to eat. Our bodies know. If we were in nature, and our stomach growled, that would let us know it was time to start looking for food. Now in society, food is just at reach at all moments, and we're putting it in our mouths before our stomach even growls. We're not even hungry yet, but we're eating because we've been told to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You don't have to do that. I don't eat until I'm hungry, and it doesn't matter what time the clock says when I eat.
Yeah. Isn't
That does
that
not
empowering?
matter.
I think that was a major for me. That was a biggest one of my biggest shifts actually, allowing me to not force myself. So sometimes if I was busy, but I want hungry, I'm not going to force myself to eat. Whereas before, having that mindset was so strong. I've got to eat. I've got to make sure. I always had something in my bag. I was one of those. I had everything in my bag because I'd be always at the gym training or working at the gym, and I'd be constantly eating throughout the day. And you think, and now we all know the insulin constantly. No wonder I'd have these dips, highs and lows, and my emotions just not balanced. There was up and down. Now me allowing the not, yeah, I fell into the fasting. I trial and errored the 16 and the 18 hours fasting, and it seems that's where I'm pretty much really comfortable with. I'm not eating my breakfast. I eat 2 meals a day, and that's just a natural. Sometimes I'll have a few snacks here and there, but generally that's what is working really well for me. And I enjoy listening to, okay, am I hungry? Asking the questions. Do I want just some hydration? Do I just want a juice? Do I want just some water? And that for me is more empowering rather than this panic feel that I used to have that I've got to eat all the time. It used I look back now, gosh, it used to be a big part of having to always make sure I have something in my bag, like the thought process,
Yeah.
what am I going to eat? Panicking if I go on these long out, day trip if I'm out. out all day, I'm panicking. And
Yes,
that's
it's
empowering not to have anymore.
so empowering, so empowering. And we I also want to mention, like, there are so many of us that are overweight. And in a world full of overweight, health stricken individuals, we are being taught to fear skipping a meal.
Yeah.
You know, they're
It's
like, it's not good to don't, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And then people are like eating uh, pork and eggs and all this cholesterol and things that's so bad for us, really heavy first thing when you wake up. Like, yeah, just it's for me, it's really eye opening now after just going through everything I have this past year and just really just. It's just mind boggling to me sometimes. They make us afraid society has us so afraid to skip a meal, but like what we're doing is not working. Look at the world. We're overweight, we're sick. Let's try something new. Skip a meal, have a juice. It's healthy, it's okay.
experiment, yeah. Because if you stop, you're not feeding the system. They want you to constantly be eating because you're paying into the industry, the cycle of eating, buying their foods, getting sick, buying the drugs. Yeah, it is a vicious cycle. And when we take our power back and realize fasting is safe and we're okay, and when we listen and get in tune with our body, yeah, you'll find you'll want something lighter. If you do want something when you first wake up, I started to just automatically have lighter foods. I was always, when I was eating meat, it would be bacon sandwiches, sausage sandwiches. That would be my breakfast, and then it was cereal, and then I come away from the cereal, had the yogurts and fruits, and then it was more fruits. I transitioned, and now it's not a breakfast. I wait till later and I'm really checking in with myself. If I feel like I do, but it's been such a long time, I just don't have it. And we release the ghrelin in the morning, which automatically, if you're eating breakfast, that gets released as a default. When you after about 3 or 4 days, that gets that when you stop breakfast, that stops releasing. So that's why you're not hungry. And I find not eating for me, not eating so late on the evening, my body allows the digestion. I'm not hungry in the morning. It's the opposite. If I eat late, I'm because it hasn't all digested and it's going crazy. I'm thinking I'm hungry in the morning. So I'm eating again. So that's what I noticed. And that was very powerful for me to realize, okay, I'm gonna eat 4 hours before bed and then not eat breakfast. And I trialed that. And it's all part of the experience, experiment, see how it feels, listen and move through it when you feel is much more comfortable.
Yes, and eating late also affects our mental state and our overall well being because the closer we eat to bed and our body has to digest overnight, the lower quality of sleep we have. The lower quality of sleep we have, the less healing is happening in our body during our sleep. Our food that we eat before bed affects our heart rate variable, our breathing. Our digestion is at work. It affects our body temperature. It affects how long we're in deep sleep and in REM, and
Yeah,
that's our healing time. It's actually really has a huge effect on our overall health. I'm really working on that because since starting to eat again for dinner, I like to have a large salad now. Typically, my day is like I wake up, I don't eat right away either. I take care of my kids and everything. And then I like to have some water. And then eventually, maybe some juice or some fruit like later on, maybe like 11 a.m. or something. But I am finding that just with like work life balance, I'm sort of trying to. I take calls and things in the evening when my husband's here, just like now, and it makes it easier for me with the kids. But then I find sometimes if I can't get something to eat before, I'm hungry afterward. But when I eat late, it does vastly affect my sleep, my mood, my overall well being. So I'm trying to really work on getting like a consistent routine, which is something, kind of one of the interesting challenges of refeeding is like, trying to figure out. I thought I had figured out a good eating window, but the thing is, when that window gets cut off by other things, and I can't eat at the end of the window, then I find myself eating outside of the window. So, it's constant learning and growth, but definitely you're doing really good, eating like 4 hours before bed. That's awesome. And you're inspiring me. That's a goal of mine that I'm working toward. Definitely. It has a big effect on us and how
Yeah.
we feel. And we don't sleep well either. We have more awake time, just like kind of waking up and in and out of sleep because our food is having to digest and it's affecting us. And then it's still digesting, like you mentioned in the morning. So then you wake up and you think your stomach's growling, but it's actually gurgling because it's still working on the food you had so late. I've been experiencing it. So I know I wake up and I'm like, I'm not hungry because I know my body really well. And I know I'm not hungry, but my stomach's making noises that would have tricked me into thinking I was hungry before I juiced. So um, it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's been a big, yeah, through reinforce just trial and error, just finding out. Yeah, and my dreams, I used to find my dreams was more intense, and I wouldn't, yeah, have the most deep sleep, the REM, the rapid eye movement, deep quality sleep. So it would affect that with the dreaming because I would having nightmares at times when I'd have heavy foods and foods late in the evening. So it's good to document this and see how you feel and see, yeah, and don't
Yeah.
beat
And
yourself up when you are eating outside that window of what you've said, but it's good to have the awareness so that you can check in and make, be pre like you. It's all about prep. It's getting organized.
yes, and after juicing for so long and sleeping so well, because when you're juicing, your sleep is immaculate because you're never processing any fiber. It's amazing. So you can really feel things more when you start to eat again. It was like, the first time I ate outside of the window I had for myself, it was like, whoa, my sleep. Like I woke up the next day like, oh, tired and like I was restless in the night. You can really tell the difference because your body's gotten used to, getting that really good sleep and not having to digest. So immediately I was like, oh, this does not feel good,
Yeah, now your body's got to get used to that now. So it's trying to find. Yeah, the refeeding's been the most. I would say for many is the most challenging. Um, that's a good. Is that of you feeling the most challenging than the actual juice cleansing itself?
That is like right now, yes, I feel like that is one of my biggest challenges right now is just like finding work life balance to, do all the things I want to do with the refeed, like stay inside a window. We can have a plan, but still life comes. So we have to be able to be flexible and just find what works for us to find our sweet spot. That's what I'm working on right now, finding that sweet spot because as much as I planned and had a great plan. And I think it's a good idea when you're juicing to think about, what you're going to be doing and what your plan is going to be. Life still happens, and sometimes we still end up outside of our plan. Um, and just kind of adjusting to that. And so, yes, I am really kind of rethinking and retweaking what I want to do with my kind of like cutoff time because I didn't want to eat past like 7 or 8 p.m., but then I take calls in the evenings. And so then I'm hungry after the calls, but then, I'm not sleeping that well. Yeah. And so I was even thinking about, um, having juice in the evenings sometimes. But I've been really loving my salads.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, it's really a learning process, and just figuring out how to find that balance and figuring out what makes us feel our best and how to work it around all the things that we have in like modern life,
Yeah.
our responsibilities and just all the things that we have to do because it's not as simple as just saying like here's the plan and I want to do it. Like life still happens, you
Yeah.
know. I had my plan, but life still happens. The
Flexible.
kids, they need this or they need that, and I'm not able to stick to the plan or just whatever it is. And so, yeah, I do find that to be kind of like the difficult challenge that I'm facing right now.
Some people say about they because I suggest don't eat, anyway. If you didn't eat in in what you wanted to do and you're feeling hungry, I just allow I like I said with the fasting, I'm just like, okay, I didn't eat, so I make sure the next day I'm always making sure I eat enough. Even so my lunches are generally more calorie dense, and then I make sure it's depending on what I've gone. But life does happen, but I allow myself just to fast. And some people say, "Oh, but I get hungry during the evening, during the sleep." But that, over time, don't forget we've been conditioned. Oh, but I didn't eat. I'm not going to sleep, because some people think by eating it allows them to sleep well, when it's not true, as we know. And over time, that you'll start to see the mind actually it's tricking you. It just wants what you've just always done. So when we check in with the unfamiliar, it can cause some disruptions and some resistance. So just allow to fast and be like, yeah, I don't need to eat. Why? Yeah, I may have not have eaten what I wanted to when at that time, but let it fast, let yourself fast. And then if you're hungry in the morning, check in with yourself. If you're not, and you'll find that you're not hungry. When you, over time, after a few days, you find that you're not even hungry, and you really check in with the cues what real hunger is, and not those growlings or that. We don't really always truly know what hunger is.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting learning journey, shifting back to the food and kind of figuring that out because I do love fasting. And I'm a fan of it. And oh, my kids are getting loud out there. They're wanting mommy.
Oh,
Um,
not long. We've
but
got
it's very different when you start eating again, eating raw, and you've never eaten raw before. So, like for me, I juiced, but I never maintained a raw diet prior. So I'm sort of in a rebuilding phase where I haven't been restricting myself. If I feel hungry, I eat. So my fasting has been natural fasting. It's never been a restriction. So that's where too I'm trying to find the balance in the evening about there have been nights where it's just like, okay, well, since it's so late, I'm just not going to eat. But also it is a little difficult for me sometimes just because eating raw, it's sort of like I mentioned, when I'm hungry, I just give myself permission to eat because this food is so dense and it's so healthy, that it's no problem. Like when I'm hungry, I eat. I don't restrict myself at all. That way I can keep eating raw. That's what's made me be able to keep eating raw so far instead of moving back to the cooked foods because I let myself have. So yeah, I'm still just trying to work out how to do it in the evening time, but I'm getting there. I'm going to keep on working on it and figure it out. I may have to change even the times that I take calls, so that I can
or a gap.
be able to eat when I want to eat.
Yeah.
Maybe I even need to schedule it in. Hey, I don't know. Like I'm so busy. I might have to start scheduling it in. Like, okay, this block is for, I'm usually hungry around this time. Not saying I have to eat at 7 p.m. or you have to eat at 5 p.m. or whatever, but just having that time like blocked off where, I have the opportunity, and don't have other engagements scheduled or anything at that time so that I don't have to be eating so late.
So number five, I'd love to know how many liters of juice per day per each serving, how much gap between each serving, and does she also keep the feeding window short? This was during the juice cleanse.
So during my juice cleanse, it varied because it's funny when people ask me questions about what I did during my juice cleanse. It's kind of like, well, at what part? Because I juiced for almost a year. So in the beginning, I drank more. I think I drank more juice in the beginning. I feel like I would drink like between 4 and 8 32-ounce juices a day. Um, and then toward the end, like I got so much smaller. Four was plenty. And I felt wonderful just having four juices, so that worked perfectly for me. But I want to also say for the person asking this question, that you can drink as much juice as you need to. So don't feel like you have to restrict how much juice you drink on a juice cleanse. Drink as much as you need to drink to keep you juicing. If your intention is to stay on a solid food vacation and be juicing exclusively, you cannot drink too much juice. You
Yeah.
just can't. I really firmly believe that. Like, drink as much as you need to.
Yeah.
Also, now eating raw, I'm almost feeling like I can eat as much as I want eating raw too. I was a little bit worried when I started back eating. I was eating so much durian, and I just felt like I was eating so much because you really can't eat a lot of raw food because it's so nutritious and calorie dense, and you can eat a ton. And so I was not used to having fiber on my stomach either after going so long. And
Yeah.
so I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I didn't weigh myself at all either. Like when I broke my juice cleanse, I weighed myself when I like around the time I broke my cleanse. But then since I've been eating again, I didn't weigh myself at all actually until around the month mark. And I was feeling like I'm eating so much, and I think I've probably gained 20 pounds. And
Mm.
my husband's like, no, you have not, no, you haven't. But I really, I didn't know because I've never eaten raw food like this where you can just eat and eat and everything's assimilating perfectly because my gut's cleared out too. I just want you all to know I got on the scale and I had gained 3 pounds. And that's literally probably the 3 pounds of salad that was on my stomach that hadn't digested yet. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm over a month in and have gained, 3 pounds max. And I eat as much as I want to. It's beautiful. I eat as much fruit and salad as I want, and I don't even have to worry about that anymore. It's incredible. So if
That's
anybody's thinking about eating raw, and you think like it's restrictive or something like that, actually it's the opposite. If you clean out your gut and you eat raw, you can eat as much as you want. And when you're drinking juice, you can drink as much juice as you want. And it's going to make you feel fabulous. You can also fast. You know, it's beautiful for your gut and healing and for mental clarity. But at the same time, if you're like me and you're trying to do something new and like eat more, like eat a majority raw diet, then it's really good to just feel safe eating however much of it you need to, because it's not the same as eating the standard American diet. It's nothing like it. You can eat a ton of food for a little bitty bit of calories, and it's going to like assimilate and move through you so smoothly. It's just, as you can tell, I'm so
that's
happy with what I'm
yeah,
eating
it's
right now. Like my
great.
food makes me so happy. I just eat as much fruit as I want.
Freedom.
Um,
True
it
freedom.
is. It's utter freedom. It's so beautiful. I hope that so many people find this path,
Yeah.
because it feels amazing, and it's really the opposite of restriction. People see it as like extreme and restrictive when in reality it's the complete opposite.
I just missed. There are three questions, but they're really good. So I didn't want to end on these, and they are so good. Um,
Okay.
someone asked. I don't have the lady's name, but are you vegan then? Are you continuing the vegan lifestyle?
Oh, I've been vegan a long time. That's not changing, and it never will. And there's not many things I can say never, but I can say never on that one, unless there's some kind of insane, I don't know, it'd have to be some kind of extreme. Well, I don't even know if something happens, some kind of apocalyptic thing. I feel like I could still eat grass and fruit and
Yeah.
fast, and like if there's animals living, then there's things for us to eat out there, right? Like if you could find a cow to eat, then that cow's eating something to sustain itself that I could be eating. So I will always be vegan, and I was vegan long before I juiced. So yes, I will be continuing that. And I had intended on eating like a high raw diet where I incorporated some cooked food. But to be honest, I feel so fabulous eating raw that I don't have any intention of eating any cooked food either anytime soon. Because I feel so good.
Yeah. And any mental tricks that you use to beat the food addictions, cravings?
Yes, I suggest this for everybody, and it's self care. Juice is self care, juice is self love. And you need more than just the juice self-care. You need to start caring for yourself in many different ways. So my biggest suggestion for beating cravings and food addiction and emotional eating is to make a list of all the things that uplift your heart and make you feel good, that you find joy in. And when you find yourself craving some comfort in food, you find comfort in other things that bring you joy instead. So if you like to paint your nails, if you like to meditate, if you like to go stand in the grass outside and put your feet to the earth, I like to do the adult coloring books. I like to play blocks with my kids, and you write all those things down on a sheet of paper, and you make that list as long as you can. Keep it as a running list. The more things you find that you like, add those things to the list. And when you find yourself feeling like you need comfort, you go to your toolbox and you pull out something that really serves your higher self instead of not necessarily knowing what to do and then rushing to the food because we know it's going to give us that quick hit of dopamine. If
Yeah.
you're prepared with your toolbox and your things that you love to do, then you have something for every occasion, right? So also make sure it's not like go get a massage. Make sure it's not like 5 things. That can be on your list, but you
Yeah.
need to have things that you can pull out no matter where you are. Because what if a craving hits while you're in the middle of, you know, um, waiting on your kids to, like for me, like maybe I'm waiting on my child to finish therapy and a craving hits. I can't go get a massage,
Hmm.
but I could maybe meditate. I could maybe say some positive affirmations. I could maybe listen to an audiobook, just whatever it is, things that you like, but you want to be prepared and you want to have a backup plan for yourself and really take care of yourself. So that is the best way, in my opinion, to beat emotional eating and cravings and things. And that's what I tell my clients and people that need help in that department. And that's
So,
what I do for myself as well.
yes, yeah, yeah, for me, yeah, truly, truly resonate there. Amazing tips. Jacqueline Dawn asked, did you do herbs or a parasite cleanse while you did juicing?
No parasite cleanse, but I did incorporate herbs. Like I mentioned, I would sometimes put dandelion in my juice or, like parsley and things that you can even just get at the grocery store, live and fresh are very powerful herbs. Cilantro,
Yeah.
those things are very powerful. I did drink some teas. Like I like to drink like the bitter herbs are really good for like blood flow. So I did have teas sometimes on my juice cleanse. Um, and I'm trying to think, but I never took any like pill form herbs or anything like that. Um, but also a couple times I did take some like herbs in like supplement form. So like um what is it? I'm trying to remember the brand. I'm sorry. Oh,
Paradigm.
so like sorry.
Was it Paradigm, the enzymes? Did you take them?
Oh, no, no, I didn't take any enzymes while I juice cleansed, but I have taken a little bit, of those since I've been refeeding. But no, I was actually thinking about like Mary Ruth's has some little droppers of vitamins and like I take B12, but additionally she has one for like lymphatic movement.
Mm.
And so sometimes I would drop a couple of drops of that in my water, but I think it's just like, um I'm trying to remember what is in that, but it's just like barks and herbs and roots, a few of them that are like good for lymphatic drainage. But I mean, out of the 266 days I juiced, I probably put those little drops in my water like maybe 5 times out of the
Oh, okay.
266 days. I didn't do any kind of herbal supplements or pills or anything like that consistently. I only would occasionally put herbs in my juice. And then, like I said, on a random occasion, I would drop a little bit of those droplets in my
Yeah.
water because there were a few times where I felt I would do a lot of rebounding for my lymphatic system, but there was sometimes I would get this feeling in my ears, which actually a lot of people that juice long term know about this with the lymphatic system, but it would feel like I was underwater in my ears. Like they would feel a little clogged. That's your lymphatic system trying to move. So sometimes when that would get really like up in arms, that's when I would, put a few of those droplets of the Mary Ruth's lymphatic in my water.
Yeah, good to know. Alina asked, how did you deal with anything relating to being social? This is a good one, such as going out, hanging out with friends.
This is a really great one. And I actually just talked about this in another group recently. So I'm going to tell you all about my experience socializing, and it's very, very empowering. So many of us are afraid to socialize when we're doing something different. And so much of that is because we're worried about judgment. We're worried about what other people are going to think, that they're going to be naysayers. But these situations are actually a great moment for us to really own our power. And so I had an experience and I was afraid too. So I had a business trip that I needed to go on for work. And I was kind of worried because it was a week-long business trip, and I didn't really want judgment from my coworkers about what I was doing, and I just wasn't sure about the response, and also like I just didn't honestly really want to have the questions about it. Like I didn't really want to have to explain myself. And I had such it was so powerfully enlightening to just I almost didn't go on this trip, y'all, because I was afraid of it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, maybe I'll just skip it. But I went on the trip anyway. I got prepared and got my juices at Whole Foods, stocked up my refrigerator in the hotel room, and just I would make sure to drink my juice. I would bring juices with me to work. And then at the kind of latter part of the trip, we had this big dinner planned where everyone was meeting up, and my company was like paying for this big, extravagant meal. Like people were eating filet mignon and like pear gorgonzola pizza and all this stuff, and I almost didn't go because I was like, it wasn't even that I was going to want to eat, but it was just like, it was the discomfort surrounding the social aspect of it. And what I realized is that, well, so what I did was when I got there, um, I I ordered water and I got it in a wine glass and I sipped my water in the wine glass all night long.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that people don't really care what you're eating.
No.
They actually don't really care. I got there and I got to enjoy everyone's company. They got to really get to know me. Other people were eating most of the time and they were tired afterward. Not me. I was like, "Oh, who wants to go out into the city?" Like I was ready. I got to connect with every single person there. I had plenty of time. And what you realize is that so often we go out in life and we have these experiences based around food, and the food is really a distraction from the experience. But I wasn't distracted. I was able to network, to talk to everyone there. They were able to really connect with me on a different level, and just I got to shower everyone with love and really listen, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful realization that these experiences in life that are so based around food, we're missing out on each other. We're missing out on the connection and what really matters. And so I had a wonderful time, and it was very, very eye opening for me. And another part of it that was really empowering is recognizing your ability to set your own boundaries. So, you know what? If you don't want to talk about juicing because you think you're going to get some naysayers, or whatever the reason is, if you just don't even want to talk about it, you don't have to. You don't have to tell anybody what you're doing. So when I went, a couple people asked me, "Oh, how come you aren't eating?" And it's as simple as you can say, "I ate before I got here." You don't have to explain yourself, you know? We have the power to give out however much information about what we're doing, and we don't have to feel obligated to tell everyone everything that we're doing. Share with them what's within reason, what's within your comfort zone. So for some people, I just said, "Hey, I'm full, and I already had something before I got there," which was true. I filled up on juice before I went to make sure that I wasn't hungry throughout the dinner. Very important for those social experiences when you're juicing. Make sure you have plenty of juice. Even bring it with you if you need to. I didn't need to. I at that point I was already like probably like 160 days into my juice cleanse or something like that. So I didn't have to bring it with me, because that far in, really the temptation was gone for me. Like at that far in, if you eat something like that, you're going to be so sick. It was not even a thought for me at that point. Juicing's easy when you do a long cleanse and you're that far in, because you're not going to hurt your body like that at that point.
Yeah.
And then other people that I felt more comfortable with, that I wanted to give a little more information, that said, "Hey, well, I saw you're not ordering anything. What's the matter?" And I said, "Oh, I ate before I came because, I am, taking my health into my own hands, and I'm on a healing journey, and so I'm following, I'm being careful what I eat. So, I just had something before I came." And that was enough there too. And then there were some people that I felt very comfortable with, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on a juice cleanse," and that is your right, and that is your power. And juicing is really a beautiful way to get your power back and also teach you about setting healthy boundaries. You have every right to set those boundaries, and you don't have to tell anybody anything you don't want to. It's about taking your power back. That's part of your power.
What an
So if you
amazing.
don't want to have to deal with people's, like, if you're worried somebody's going to judge you, then you don't have to tell them what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't owe them anything. You don't owe anybody anything except yourself. You do owe yourself love and health. And so it was incredibly empowering. And I'm so glad that I went and did it, even though I was afraid, because I learned so much, about myself, and about how to set healthy boundaries.
Incredible. So amazing. And it is. It's owning it. It's owning what you're doing. And when you have that embodiment of owning, like, this is for me, and everyone else is, you just know, then you know they're going to benefit as well, because they're going to get this person that listens, that truly cares, and is all about nourishing rather than using the food to distract, to get away from these uncomfortable emotions. So yeah, I had the same, a lot of experience in the past of why I now, it doesn't, for me, social gatherings, it doesn't create a lot of fear within me. Yeah, and you, that was a
Yes.
great, what a great advice for those that are struggling with that. Go with the intention of nurturing these relationships with the experience that we did touch on it. I think we did discuss it on the first call we had together, I think on your journey. So
Um,
I'm glad we've ended on this, because this is a great inspire, it's so inspiring, and you are such a beautiful soul, Jenny. Thank you
uh,
for coming on
thank you so
today, sharing your wisdom and your journey. It's amazing, and you're going to help so many of us, and you are helping so many of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tony. You are too. It's always such a blessing to speak with you. You're such a light, and I just enjoy your energy so much. And I'm so glad that you're really trying to help others, and just show everyone that that living foods, are nothing to fear, and they really uplift us and help us to just, um, to know ourselves and really be able to go within and to turn to love. They help us turn to love so much.
Yeah.
Just, I can't even describe how much, living foods have helped me with my mental health. Like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but it has helped me so much. Even just dealing with a lot of different social interactions, like, Like we were talking about recently, even like bullying and stuff like that. A lot of people will bully when you're on a different path, and it's helped me so much with that too, because a lot of people just really say not nice things, really projecting too a lot of issues. I think a lot of people project their own unhappiness and issues, but it really helps you to be able to rise above it. And like you were saying, just like live with love. And that's going to bring you peace and a better quality of life to be able to live with love despite what others think, and despite what others say. Um, so I think it's so beautiful that you're helping to spread this knowledge and information to people so that we can all, live the happy lives that we deserve. So thank you for having me, and thank you for doing what you do, because you are a beautiful soul, and really spreading that love, and that's all that matters.
Yes, it is, and I want to and reinforce that we all have this. We all have this love in us. It's just now. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go because your baby needs you. So we end with the be, feel, and stay Rawlicious. Are you happy to end with us on that? Be, feel, and stay.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Okay, one, two, three. Be,
Be,
feel,
feel, stay.
stay Rawlicious.
Rawlicious. Mwah. Love you all. Thank you for having me, Tony. Until the next time.